Today we've got John Oeltjen, partner from WIPFLI, which is one of the top 20 accounting firms in the US. And today we're going to be talking about data analytics and how it's impacting the supply chain. So John, thanks you for joining with us. There's three key areas I want to cover. One is why data analytics is important when it comes to manufacturing and the supply chain. Two, I want to talk about it from a transparency point of view and the value that transparency can provide to manufacturers and distributors. And lastly, I'm going to ask you to close with some insights and thoughts about why it's so important when it comes to mergers and acquisitions. So let's jump right into it. John, let's talk a little bit about why data analytics are so important for manufacturers and distributors in supply chain. From my perspective, I see so many companies operating from a point of crisis. They're in really a firefighting mode. And a lot of that stems, the root cause of it is because they're not using data analytics to really understand and gain insights into their own business. One of the things we've all learned from the pandemic is that those companies that operate with more control in their supply chains really outperform those that don't. And the heart of that is really the data analytics from my perspective of being able to understand your business so you can get out of that firefighting mode. And one of the things I really like to emphasize to my clients is it's important to get out of a reactive mode and into a proactive mode to move to the next level. So what are your thoughts on why this is important?
Well, I think the challenges presented by COVID on the supply chain matters has resulted in companies recognizing that perhaps they've not provided sufficient resources, either information resources to be able to better understand their own supply chain opportunities and threats, as well as information about what alternatives might exist there. We have worked with companies like yours, Richard, that allow us to be able to help our clients better understand what's going on within their supply chain flow. And many times the information is there, they just don't know how to use it or how to access it, and allow them to see into their system and identify where the opportunities might be.
I think that's very key because a lot of it is within their own control, and unfortunately they're not really taking full advantage about it. So the second point I want to talk about is transparency, and I think this is really one of the key benefits to any company that's about to adopt or enhance their data analytics platform, and it really gives key insights into their business at all different levels. And I think from a supply chain perspective, it needs to be part of the culture when you're talking data analytics from the top down. First, you want to start within your own business and things that you can control, like inventory, like your planning and scheduling. But it even goes beyond that. I've seen this applied very, very robustly with your supplier now, Kristen, being able to share data with your suppliers to create competitive advantages. And it is the center point, it's the focal point of the platform to being able to share and collaborate with that data to get insights, not only into your own issues within your own company, but also in your suppliers. And that's really, really key. And then the last thing, it also, if you can use that data analytics to not only understand your business, but your supplier business, but also the marketplace you're in. If you're spending millions upon millions of dollars in significant markets, it's really important to use the data analytics from those marketplaces to really give you insights as to how to take advantage of it. What are your thoughts when it comes to transparency?
Well, I believe by working with your suppliers in a win-win approach to it, the information that you may have can oftentimes help you both be more successful in your relationship. And that data analytics provides that insight that, and with your suppliers, you can help identify opportunities to improve both more success, more profit on both sides of the equation, both you and your supplier. And it doesn't have to be adversarial as opposed to, okay, I just need a lower price. It can actually, now how do we get that lower price? And that information is many times available. And by the way, it's not always just the cost of materials. Transportation is important on that. Lead times are important on that. And there's so many other matters that can be addressed that can overall affect the cost of the products and the services that our clients are buying. And yet by sharing information with their suppliers, they're able to be successful in moving the relationship forward.
I think that's a great point, because one of the things I do in my practice is use the data analytics to not only share with the suppliers, but when you go to the negotiation table, it's a critical piece of creating leverage on your side of the table. It's one thing to say you've got X amount of volume. It's another thing to be able to prove it to the data analytics. And that's a whole different level of negotiation, whole different level of providing leverage on your table that's going to work in your favor. And that's something that's critical to gain through that data process. Well, last part of it I want to talk about is really something I know you work very closely with, and that's the mergers and acquisitions. And share with us your insights on what you see out there when it comes to mergers and acquisitions.
Well, for a long time, the supply chain matters were oftentimes done as part of the services we provide at a very minimal level. And that was because it was not a point of emphasis of many of the acquirers. And so, not that it wasn't, but many times it was not, as probably has highly emphasized. Today is probably one of the most highly emphasized areas. So that's changed dramatically. And it was really already changing before COVID, but COVID just expedited it exponentially as to how much effort is being put in it. And what we see now is identifying opportunities that can help create value to the buyer, oftentimes, by showing what can we do to make this company more successful and more profitable and merge with our culture. Maybe it's on supply chain, but also as to making sure that they're able to identify what the real information is down below. So remember that value is created oftentimes in supply chain greater than any other attribute of trying to create increased value. And it's the one that probably you might have the most control over compared to other challenges in a merger or an acquisition.
I think it's an outstanding point there. I think most companies fail to use that leverage when they go through the acquisition and post-merger, is being able to effectively pull that leverage, but it has so much return on investment when they do. So I really appreciate you giving us your insights. Thank you for the opportunity to chat. And I think, I hope we will get a chance to work together a lot here. Thanks.
Likewise. Enjoyed it, Richard. Thank you.